This photo breaks the most famous rule in photography. So does this one. And this one. They are also three of my favorites. For the longest time that confused me, because I was told by every photography course, every blog post, every YouTube tutorial, that if I just placed my subject on a thirds intersection, my photos would get better. They didn't. They just got correct, which, it turns out, is not the same thing. Hi, hello everybody, welcome back to a new video, hope you're all well. So today I want to talk about a rule, possibly the rule. The one that gets taught in every beginner photography lesson, and then never really gets revisited. The rule of thirds. And I want to be clear about something before we start. I'm not going to tell you to throw it away. That would be lazy and honestly kind of dishonest because I still use it all of the time. But I'm also going to tell you why it's one of about 4 things going on in a photo at any given moment. And why we treat it like it's the whole game, which it really isn't. Quick version in case anyone's just walking into this. The rule of thirds is the idea that you mentally divide your frame into 9 equal rectangles. 2 horizontal lines, 2 vertical lines, and then you place your subject or your horizon along one of those lines. Or ideally on one of the 4 intersection points where the lines cross. The argument is that the human eye doesn't naturally land in the center of an image. It drifts, it wanders. Whereas if you place it on a thirds intersection, the eye finds it more naturally and the image feels balanced without feeling static. And honestly, that's true, it works. I'm not arguing with the underlying observation. The rule is also doing something else, which nobody really talks about. It's a beginner intervention. It exists to break you out of a very specific habit, which is putting everything in the middle of the frame because that's where your subject is. The rule says, no, push it off center. Give the photo somewhere to breathe. And for that purpose, it's a brilliant rule. It's a very good first rule. It's just not a very good only rule. And that's the part nobody really tells you. They teach you the grid, they tell you to use it, and then if you're like I was, you spend about a year trying to force every photo into an intersecting point, and slowly start to feel like your photos all look kind of the same. Because they are. Here's what I noticed when I went back through my own portfolio last week. I was looking through some recent photos, the ones I actually really like, and I looked at them with the grid on. About a quarter of them follow the rule of thirds. Roughly a third of them are aggressively symmetrical, subject in the middle perfectly mirrored, the supposed cardinal sin. The rest sits somewhere weird in between. Geometric, abstract, mostly negative space, frame within frame stuff. And they all feel like me. So if the rule isn't what's holding the work together, what is? This is where I want to introduce something. The idea is that rules or formulas can quietly take over the work that seeing is supposed to do. And the rule of thirds is the most universal version of that. It's a grid that does the composing for you. I call it the grid reflex. And if you watched last week's video on full frame, this will feel familiar. Same instinct, different limb. The alternative isn't no rules. The alternative is realizing there is at least 4 things going on in a photograph. Force 1 is placement. This is where the rule of thirds lives. It's the question of where in the frame does the subject sit. Thirds is one answer. Centering is another. The golden ratio is another. There's also the diagonal rule and the rule of odds, which I genuinely love, by the way, and a whole pile of other placement techniques. They are all answering the same question. Where does the eye land first? That's it. That's the entire job of placement. Thirds is a great default for that question. It's just not the only answer, and it's certainly not the most interesting one. Force 2 is what I'd call tessellation. And this is where things get interesting, because the rule of thirds doesn't apply to it at all. Tessellation is when the subject of the photo isn't a thing, it's the relationship between shapes. Take this corrugated roof image, for example. There is no subject, it's a series of colored shapes looking into each other against a piece of sky. The composition is the interlock. You can't put that on a thirds intersection. There's nothing to put. Tessellation answers a completely different question. Not where is the subject, but how do the shapes hold each other together? It's compositional gravity. Which shape pulls which? Which shapes carries the most weight? And what happens at the edges where they touch? A grid overlay tells you nothing about that. You need a different muscle entirely. And then we have force 3, negative weight. This is the one that took me the longest to actually feel. The idea is that empty space isn't empty. It has weight, and often in a really good photograph, the empty space is doing more work than the subject is. Take this shadow bird photo. About 80% of that frame is close to pure black, if not pure black. The bird itself is tiny. By any traditional rule, that photo shouldn't work. There's almost nothing in it. But the emptiness is the point. The dark is the photograph. The bird is just a place for your eye to rest while the dark does its job. The rule of thirds tells you to place a subject, but it has nothing to say about what happens when the subject is the absence of one. Moving from negative weight to the fourth point, which is framing, the use of objects inside your frame to create a frame within it. The pylons photograph I've shared so many times now is the cleanest example of this, in my opinion, anyway. Two big metal structures on either side of the image. They are not subjects, they're not background. They are walls. They are telling your eye, look between us. And then, in the gap they create, there is the actual subject. A small barn, a much smaller pylon further out, and the horizon. Framing is the only one of these four that's spatial rather than positional. It's not asking where on the grid the subject sits. It's asking, what is your eye looking through? And once you start seeing it, you can't stop. Doorways, branches, shadows cutting across a path. The world is full of accidental frames. The grid never sees any of them. So here's what I actually think after spending a year trying to follow the rule and another year trying to figure out why my photos started getting better the moment I stopped thinking about it. The rule of thirds isn't wrong, it's just small. It's one technique, inside one of four forces, inside a much larger thing called composition. We've been teaching it like it's the whole house, when it's really just one tile in the floor. And the consequence of teaching it like it's the whole house is that we end up with a generation of photographers who can balance a horizon perfectly and have no idea what to do when the photo doesn't have a horizon or a subject or a clear foreground, which is, in my experience, where the most interesting photos live. The grid is scaffolding. It's useful. You build with it. And then at some point you take it down and you find out whether the building stands on its own. That's the real lesson. Not break the rule, just outgrow it. The way you outgrow any first lesson, without resentment, without throwing it away, just recognizing it for what it is. A starting point, not an ending one. I'm curious what your relationship is to this rule, actually. Whether you learned it and forgot it, whether you still actively use it, whether you noticed at some point that the photos you liked the most were the ones that broke it. So yeah, has a rule ever stopped you from making the photo you actually wanted to make? Let me know down in the comments. I genuinely want to know, and I always read my comments. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, give it a like and consider subscribing. I appreciate it so much. But until next time, have a good day or evening whenever you're watching this. Out!